Welcome to the Customer Wins podcast, where business leaders discuss their secrets and techniques for helping their customers succeed and in turn grow their business.
Hi, I'm Rich Walker, the host of the Customer Wins, where I talk to business leaders about how they help their customers win and how their focus on customer experience leads to growth. Some of my past guests have included George Swetlitz of Right Response AI, Ian Carnell of Vast Advisor, and Josh Datar of Typhone. Today, I'm speaking with Mikhail Ruchkin, founder of Innovative Digital Transformation. And today's episode is brought to you by Quick, the leader in enterprise forms processing. When your business relies upon processing forms, don't waste your team's valuable time manually reviewing the forms. Instead, get Quick. Using Quick, you'll be able to generate completed forms and get back clean, context-rich data that reduces manual reviews to only 1 out of 1,000 submissions. Visit quickforms.com to get started. All right, Mikhail Ruchkin is a technology executive, cloud strategist, and cybersecurity leader with more than 15 years of experience helping organizations modernize, scale, and innovate in the cloud. Mikhail began his career in cloud security and has spent the last decade working with organizations ranging from startups to Fortune 500 enterprises. Today, Mikhail serves as the CEO of Innovative Digital Transformation, or IDT, who is an AWS Advanced Tier Services partner. Mikhail, welcome to the Customer Wins.
Thank you, Rich. Glad to meet you.
All right. So for those who haven't heard this podcast before, I love to talk to business leaders about what they're doing to help their customers win, how they built and deliver a great customer experience, and the challenges to growing their own company. So Mikhail, let's understand your business a lot better. How does your company help people?
Well, that's an interesting question. The whole idea of our business is really to help people. And that all started a few years ago when I already have been in business for quite a bit, and helping for me was probably the primary goal, helping people, helping customers. And now how we look at this, it's really to try to treat your customers the same way you want to be treated. I think it sounds pretty common, but what I really tell my people when you meet with the customer, when you look at the customer, try to understand what they really need. Sometimes they want a lot. Sometimes they say, I want this or that technology, or, I want this modern fancy thing, but really try to understand and then try to give them what they really need. Just be yourself and try to treat them the same way you want to be treated. So I think this golden rule is what I've been teaching, my people, my colleagues, and that's been my motto through years. Yep.
I love that. I think life's too short to do business with people you don't like. And so that to me is part of that path. If you aren't treating people well, they're not going to treat you well, and you're not going to attract people who treat you well. What are the types of problems that people need your help for?
Well, since I'm in the technology business, usually that's really, they come up with the needs either to improve the effectiveness of their, business through digital transformation. Since we are AWS Advanced Tier partner, it's more like, hey, we want to save on cost, or we want to be more productive. And nowadays, everybody, use artificial intelligence technology for that. So it's one option. And those requests like effectiveness or cost optimization, or they need to, let's say, build a new service or product, and they need experts who can give them not only the, technology, there are a lot of experts on the market, but an important thing here is that people who you can trust, who you can really trust, not only just to do the job, but to get some sort of not only support, but it's a long-term relationships that they can rely on when they either need to, let's say, move on with the product they built, or they need something new. So yeah, that's I would say the most things that we hear.
I met you many, many, many years ago when you were working at another firm, and you helped us with security implementation within our Amazon environment. And I will attest, it just felt like you were part of our team. You truly cared about what we were doing and how it could work. And the thing I want to say though is that it is hard as a small business to have the AWS skills in-house. And so we look to companies like yours who have the expertise to do it. Why is Amazon so hard? Why does it require such a high level of expertise?
Well, the competition is very high, and the technology itself is constantly, I would say, evolving. It's really about learning new stuff all the time. I mean, and there are several companies on the market that offer cloud platforms, other than Amazon. And I'm sure that all of them, they require highly skilled people, to provide services on top of their products and their platforms. But I would say that all the time we need to learn the new technology. But an important thing, and I'm just coming back to our original topic, that we need to keep in mind that technology is just part of the game, and we really need to give people the best result within the budget and timeline, where we bring the best quality, and in the meantime what they really need. It's like, I can tell you that very often I wouldn't say that people need what they ask for. That's the true of life. Sometimes customers show up and they say, like, um, build us a spaceship. But we really understand that they don't need it. And we understand that in order to reach their goal, it's just a simple thing, and it's much cheaper and it's much faster. And instead of just, giving them what they need, we just sit and talk and explain. Sometimes it's like parents and children, and you need to explain. I'm a father of 4 girls. Girls, I don't know what it is to have boys, but for girls, it means that you need to talk. 5 women in the household, you need to talk a lot. You need to be able to explain. You need to know how to convince, how to listen, because that's the hard thing with women, right? So you need to listen, you need to explain, and in the meantime, you're responsible for everything. So my business is, I wouldn't say it's the same, but it's something similar. You need to treat them like your children and not always give them what they want, but just sit and explain what they really need. And that's why my customers, they are thankful, because the way we do business is really about long-term success. It's not about just doing the project. It's not about just giving them what they asked. Yeah, sometimes when customers say, like, just give me what I need, I always give options, and I say what is the best for them from my experience, from the experience of my teams and departments. So yeah, that's the way how we do this.
Mikhail, I think most companies rely on their people. They think that people are definitely part of the product and definitely part of the customer experience. And I would even offer to my own customers that you're buying a relationship, not just a tech, not just the ability to fill out forms, not just because APIs keep running. You're buying our ability to work with you, communicate with you effectively, et cetera. But in your world, it is all people. I mean, yeah, you're building a product for the customer that they want built, but your entire product is people. So how do you make sure that you're creating a consistent experience with all the people on your team?
Well, that's an interesting question. It was many years ago when I was a child, and my dad, he brought me in the field, in the soccer field, and he said, "Hey, listen, I was a goalkeeper. I want you to be a goalkeeper." So I was 8 or 9 years old, and that was scary for me. It's like, 11 people on the field, and you're in charge. You're not that just, forward or defense. You're the last person on that field who protects the gate. And that's, I believe, where I started learning the responsibility, not only for yourself, but for the end result and for the entire team. So when I grew, I kept, probably that helped me to formate myself in the way that I really kind of started becoming the type of leadership where I take responsibility on myself. So in business, I pay a lot of attention on people who I work with. So people means a lot for me. And when I hire somebody, I meet with each person and I see if first of all, if that's the right for that person, this, position, this department or this project. And I try to find the best fit for both, like customer, teammates, the company, and I grow people. That's one of my goals. It's not only serving customers, but I feel so happy when I see the success of junior people and see how they progress and how they really grow professionally and as people, and I see how they become mature in some areas. And I have that examples. Like, I cannot tell you the exact number, but at least I think 5+ people that I have in my head right now that I was able to grow from, like, I don't know, 15 years old young bucks to really, really great engineers and professionals. And that's how I think, that's at least my opinion, people should invest, leaders should invest. It's not only just, building something, providing services, but that's about life. What I usually tell my guys, hey, we spend a lot of time at work. We see each other, we see our customers, we work with each other. Sometimes we see ourselves more than we see our wives. And that's not the right thing. And sometimes it's hard projects and we really need to pay attention to something. But it happens. And what I say, that we live our lives. And it means that we need to influence the way that we help each other to grow, not only as professionals, I mean, technology wise, but also as people. And that works. And I call that the greatest investment in people. Sometimes I tell them, listen, I want smarter people to be around me. I want you to grow higher than myself. I want you to become more successful. So I just share with you what I have. And I want to not only empower you, but encourage you to grow and see how you will do. That's like about having great teachers. I was lucky to have great teachers, who taught me pretty much the same.
No, I love that philosophy and mindset because I don't want to waste a moment in my life not improving, not growing, not moving down the path. And it's frustrating when you're not changing and you're not moving forward or even going backwards because you're not making good decisions. So
Yeah.
to have a leader on the team who's caring about that for their team members, I think is just phenomenal. Let's switch this around. I might be potentially asking you a hard question because as entrepreneurs, we want to help everybody. Sometimes we need to make money, so we try to take the business we can take. But how do you say no to customers if they're not the right fit? Because it's a two-way street, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And that requires some sort of, I would say, practice. And I can acknowledge that I did mistakes in the future, in the past, sorry, and where I worked with customers that were not the best fit for our company and for that. And I can tell you that what I learned from that, if you said yes, you need to do what you promised. And with a couple of examples in my experience. So even though the customers were not the greatest for us, we completed the work. Even financially, I can tell you that it was not the best results, the best outcome that we expected. Still, I explained to my team that it's not only about reputation, it's to show those customers that there's another way to do business. And through those, hard projects, I trained my team and showed my team that even if you're not treated well, you still need to deliver the best result. And again, it's more than about just reputation. It's about teaching other people to do their life better. And on the other hand, that helped me to learn that if I see that the customer is not the best fit for us, I mean, not about, it's not only about like, um, it's not about financial stuff. I think it's more about looking at customer as a partner, as a friend, right? And if I see that their goals, their intentions, their principles, their ideas, they are different, I say no. I say no, even though if we can help them, technically help them, but I understand that long term, it will be difficult for me, to bring this customer and turn that into some sort of long-term positive relationships or friendship. Well, I never know for 100%. And sometimes, as I mentioned, I remember a difficult project that I had a few years ago where I was participating. I was not in this position and with this company, but I was participating in the large, massive migration to AWS for one of the customers of my previous employer. And I remember the time, and as you mentioned, I'm with cybersecurity background, and I remember the time when the customer said that, "Hey, listen, we're ready to stop this project because there are some security aspects of that. Like you guys are doing a great job, but we think that it requires some more attention." It wasn't anything critical, but that was critical enough for the customer to say like, "We are ready to stop that multi-million project right now." And the question was to me like, do you want that to happen? And that's like hundreds and hundreds of people who were participating in that time. And I was like facing like that question. It's like, wow, do you really want that? I said, well, just to say no, and you cannot escape, and you cannot, you're the frontliner, you're the goalkeeper, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
So literally, I took the fire on myself and just asked for like 48 hours, gave the plan, and I had to just to board that on the fly to give them the plan, steps, outcomes, everything, and they said, okay, yeah, we'll give you 48 hours. Well, that's an example where that difficult project and difficult customers, difficult customer, the people on that project, they became my friends. I tell you, we literally turned that into success together and without any issues. We successfully helped to deliver all of the projects under that portfolio successfully. And now today, like those guys are not with that company anymore. It was a few years back, but we really are friends. We talk with each other, and we share news, and we just have good relationships. So that's an example how we could turn that.
I love the entrepreneurial spirit that's spoken inside of that, because you have to be willing to take risks as an entrepreneur, which sometimes means I'm going to hit this out of the park and we're down and we're going to lose if I don't. So we're just going to go for it. And to me, that's one of those stories. But I didn't say this out loud. There's an underlying assumption here. When you're in a people business and your product is your people, the customer experience is largely dependent upon the customer themselves. Because if it's a product, they self-select. It's a product for me or it's not for me. And I don't mean that perfectly black and white. It's not. But oftentimes you can choose a product because it's the right thing for you and it works brilliantly. So part of the definition of customer experience that I'm kind of working through here is that it has to be a marriage of both parties. Right? And I'm sure you experience that to a lot of degree with people. Do you have those moments where you're in the sales process and you're just like, no, 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 this is never going to work, and it's so obvious, or does it skip by you?
Well, sometimes that happens, right, through when we go through sales process. But as I mentioned, I have five women in my household, and when you have especially four daughters, it gives me a very good training for that. So when when I ask my wife, like, from your experience, and when you look at other like families and other men, like, do you see that men are different? Some of active, some of not. Some want to spend time with their wife, some not. And she always tells me like that, you know, how you treat your family and your wife. Look at your daughters and at me, and you will see how well you do the job. So, in other words, with customers, when it's pretty much, I wouldn't say the same, but something similar to me. But when I go through sales process and I see that, oh, maybe that's not a good fit for me. As I mentioned, you never know. And one of my partners last year, we were supporting like a large organization with their customers. They were doing a lot of artificial intelligence and also cloud migrations and data analytics projects. We built for BI systems for them, many different projects, and security was also an important part for that. But the interesting fact that what they told me, we give you the most difficult projects. And it wasn't said like loudly. It was like, oh, you know what, guys, we use you, we invite you where we have like really difficult cases and difficult technology part, but also projects in terms of like customers were difficult, communication had to be just perfect, and the C-level people on the other end were demanded a lot, and we had to be not only confident but to deliver things. And I was really proud of my teams, where at the end of the year I was in the position where I had to send out an email just stating, guys, we did it. We delivered in time. And when I say within the budget, it doesn't always mean that it is with the budget of the project. But if I promise something to people, if I said that I will build this product for you or do this service for you, within this time and in this amount, I will do it. Whatever it takes on my end, I'll just deliver that. So that's probably my role. The most critical projects and special customers that what I'm having right now. I can tell you that I have customers and they're special. Special means they demand a lot, and in the meantime, they sometimes customers, and that I'm sure for sure they're not always nice with you. And what I tell my people, never respond back in the way that you want, to be responded. You must be perfect. And that's the rule. I always use this example, and my partners, my teammates, they smile when I say that. Like, you're like a waiter at the restaurant in the best sense of that word. Like, you invite people, they come, and then you need to treat them the best way. But, my experience many, many years ago, I was working for one restaurant. I was doing like IT work for them, the automation of their business processes. In the meantime, I was offered by the owners to train their teams. Can you imagine? Like, I was doing IT, they saw how I was treating people and how I was playing with engineers. I mean, how we were doing the job for them. And they invited me to train their waiters and bartenders and all of those guys. And so, really, well, that's great. But they said, like, just train them. And I was doing my projects with them, but in the meantime, I decided to help. And I spent, believe me or not, 1 year. I was doing some project for them, but throughout 1 year, I talked to them, I explained them the principles, and I was so happy to see in a year how that team of about a dozen of people did the job. That was a small restaurant, but that was just like a theater. I explained to them, like, if you invite somebody to visit you at home, and that's your friend, you would give that friend the best cup, the best place, you would treat that person in the best way. Do the same for your guest at the restaurant. Now, in technology business, I say, when you are at the restaurant, be the best waiter. When you have people in your restaurant, please treat them the same way that they would want to come back. So it's a lot of philosophy, but I tell you, in our technology world, especially in the AI era, where a lot of functions are automated, and we really see that it does the job. It does the great job. So business processes, people's function, and people are what I hear in the industry, they really kind of are concerned, like, what will happen in a half a year or in a year, right? So that's what we see in the software development field, in the infrastructure, in other areas, in security, the same way. What I tell my people, AI will be part of our life, and that's absolutely normal. But in the meantime, AI never and ever will be able to be a human being. I mean, in the way emotionally, support people. Again, treatment of your customers. It's very important not only to, it's very important not only to basically automate everything with AI, but in the meantime, be a person. Yeah. So that's the way. Yeah.
It's the timeless values of humanity that are filtering through with all of this. You're 100% right. And a lot of people I talk to, especially in financial services, they're like, no, the human will never be replaced by AI, especially in a time of need. Could you imagine an AI robot sitting with somebody who's grieving their loss of their spouse? I mean, that's just not going to happen. All right, I want to switch topics before we run out of time, because I would be remiss not asking, because you're a security expert by background. You're doing all these different projects with AI. One of the biggest, I think, risks right now is security with AI. And I don't simply mean mythos or hacking. I just mean the implementation of product and services and building software without a focus on security. So I'm curious your view of this. Do you think things are being built the right way? Do you think people are missing the boat on security? What's your view of it?
Yeah, my view, the risk is growing, and that's what I follow several sources, just seeing that statistics and, the security companies, they kind of publish the results of their analysis. And yes, you are absolutely correct. So the risk is growing. Nowadays, that like non-technical people can build many things, chatbots, MCP servers to connect different systems, and that happens. And when I say non-technical people, I really say that, like, if we talk about software development, it's a technical person. He has some security, at least in mind, the basic security. But it's like everybody, right, really can do that. So my perspective on that it's time for security people definitely not to try to prevent, means that prevent people from new inventions, from new integrations, new operational processes. It's more about the need here is to try and succeed in building a safe security environment, in the sense that we need to use the modern frameworks to really implement them in companies and educate people. So basically, let them do what they're doing, but put the guardrails, the safeguard them by putting the guardrails and educate them. Don't tell them no, tell them how to do it right. And that's what requires a lot of, I would say, time on the security side of, to to implement that. It's not about implementing the technology or a firewall or safeguard. We're in a different era. It's more about sitting with people and say, yes, you're doing a great job, but here are the three simple steps how you should do that. You do it here in this environment, take these three steps, and educating them. That way, what I think worth the most right now. Otherwise, absolutely, like, see, AI, that everybody knows that can be used in a good sense and in a bad sense. So
Do you
definitely
think
when you, yeah, go ahead.
do you think AI should have the best practices of security built in? So if you go vibe code an app because you're doing a marketing project, you're building a prototype, whatever, do you think AI should be responsible for building in security?
Well, I think it's a combination, but again, we're being given with tools, right? And the security on their end is to, the security job of those companies is to build guardrails and safeguards inside of their products. I think that the way how we use the products and what we do is more on us, on users, and
Yeah.
that's more on our end.
I mean, look, anecdotally, in my own experience, first of all, I find security to be one of the hardest things to implement in software with AI driving the wheel or steering the car. So it is a lot about controls and guidelines and really pushing it in the direction you want it to go for a security standpoint. The second thing is, look, this is out of context, but I have actually broken Opus, Claude Opus, with a high end model. It couldn't do the security things I needed it to do. It was too complex for it. And I had to change my approach. So I have this view that AI is not doing the security. Even if it knows how, it's not doing it until you tell it to do it specifically, which means you have to have some sense of what problems are out there and what standards should be applied. And that brings in the security experts. So, how do we get everybody to actually understand the security problem if they don't have the background in it? How do they get your knowledge?
Well, yeah, that's what you mentioned, right? AI gives us what we ask AI to give us. Everybody knows that today. And you're correct that by default, security is, I wouldn't say is part of every project. That's absolutely correct. But on the other hand, AI is the technology that now gives an opportunity to everybody get any information. So you can have my knowledge. You can have the outcome of, experience that I have using AI. Ask the right questions. And if you have this intent to build, I don't know, service or product securely, you really just have to properly use the tool to give you the right answers. And as you know, it can give you the answers as an information, as code, as integrations, everything you need, the tools to check, to test, to remediate. And I would say that the biggest, what I see, not a problem, but an issue right now, that people basically treat security, it's very often, I can tell, I saw that many times in the past. They just don't think about security. They just run, and they deliver, and they want to show the outcome and results and numbers. So security first is what I say is very important. Like whatever you do, whatever you build or provide a service, put like let it be generic, some common security rules, guardrails, and what is very important for companies to basically reiterate this process of reviewing their security posture. It's like the life is changing so fast, so it's very important to not only to build the security posture and say we have it, but it's a process. Security is a process, so just review it again and again. Use new frameworks, new approaches, and with AI, it's so easy to do for people who don't have security background. If you have this in mind that it's important, nowadays you can reach the outcome you want. Yep.
Yeah, man. I have so many more questions, but I'm out of time to keep asking all these questions. So I'll have to call you and have private ones just to share later. So Mikhail, before I get to my very last question, what is the best way for people to find and connect with you?
Well, you can easily find me on LinkedIn, right? My email, mikhail.ruchkin@i-d-t.com, is also the way to contact me. So, yep, I would be happy to talk.
Awesome. All right, here comes my last question, which is always one of my favorite ways to end a show. Who has had the biggest impact on your leadership style and how you approach your role today?
Oh, that was my manager at Profitability of Hawaii, Warren Kunimoto. He's the great guy, and we have great relationships. And he was the person who I worked for, I think, about 4 years, around that, 3.5, 4 years. And that was the time when I really was learning from him. A great professional human being who taught me step by step. And he once told me the phrase that I was thinking like what he was talking about. He said, "Listen, Mikhail, one day you will be leading a big team, many people. You will have to show them how to work. You will have to really stay till 10 p.m. sometimes at work first to really kind of take care of your people and then do your own work. But you need to learn these 3 simple things," he told me. Be diligent. If you promise something, do it. And that's, and that's 3 simple things I would say was the really one great example, one great thing. If you promise something, you must do it in time and within the budget. So that's what he, constantly was telling me. If you promise something, you must deliver that. Yeah, he's the great guy. He retired already, and and I'm actually going to meet him, I think, today. Yeah, we have a call with him. So yeah, he's a great guy.
I love hearing these stories because these people, they often don't know the kind of impact they're having on us at that moment in time, and then what we become. And there's so many people I wish I could reach out and find and say thank you to. So thank you for sharing that. I hope you tell them about this today.
Yep.
All right. So to wrap up the show, I want to give a big thank you to Mikhail Ruchkin, CEO of Innovative Digital Transformation, for being on this episode of The Customer Wins. Go check out Mikhail's website at i-d-t.com. And don't forget to check out Quick at quickforms.com, where we make processing forms easy. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. We'll click the like button, share this with someone, and subscribe to our channels for future episodes of The Customer Wins. Mikhail, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Rich, for inviting. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Customer Wins podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.